Oh, not quite ready. There we go. Is the sound off? Yes, my headphones are off. Alright, let's see if we are live. Probably are, but I want to be 100% sure that the audio is coming through. Probably are, but I want to be 100% Alright, we're good to go. Alright, it is Friday, August 8th, 2025 at 5:11 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Here we are in Fallout New Vegas. Quick updates on what's going on currently, and we'll talk about upcoming lore videos, or potential upcoming lore videos. So, the Fallout 3 video covering Canterbury Commons, the script is nearly done. I'm hoping to finish that thing later tonight. Hopefully record the audio, and I'll hopefully even put the video out tomorrow. I'd wanted to get it out this week, and I still think I will. Obviously not during the actual weekday week, but still within the week. I've basically... The only thing that's really left in terms of filming is I need to get a couple shots of the Mechanist in Fallout 4. Not because I'm not going to do a full thing on the Mechanist in Fallout 4, but just because the Mechanist exists in both Fallout 3 and in Fallout 4. So I figure I need to at least comment on that. So I'm going to do that. I basically already knew everything I needed to know in terms of like the ways you could resolve the Superhuman Gambit questline, which is within Canterbury Commons, but I did check the wiki to see if there was anything I'd missed, and there actually is this really weird little way you can actually do it, to where you go in and you go to the Hubris Comics building, which is in Mason Square, or the Mason District, sorry, the Mason District section of the Metro, and you can actually find a comment from an angry reader of the comics who was upset about the way the Antagonizer was portrayed within the comics. And in doing so, you can actually bring that information to the Antagonizer within Canterbury Commons, and that's a way to resolve the quest. It's something I'd missed completely before, but I'm glad that I know about it now, and I get to share it with y'all. Other than that, I mean, it's all pretty basic stuff in terms of taking on the Mechanist and the Antagonizer in terms of, like, talking them down. Specifically, you can either talk them down with a speech skill or using Lady Killer or Black Widow or Child at Heart. Child at Heart is actually very useful there. And then along with that, you can also go ahead and actually just kill them. You can kill one or both, and either way it accomplishes the quest, but you do get a bigger reward if you kill both of them. So yeah, all that kind of stuff is pretty basic. The other stuff there is the Trading Empire, Merchant Empire, something like that. I don't remember the exact name off the top of my head. Basically, the whole thing there is you're trying to organize the traders, the Commonwealth, a little bit better. You can do it so long as you have a proper barter skill. That triggers the ability to actually invest within the caravans. Then you can invest up to 700 caps into each caravan, which increases the size of their inventories, the amount of money they can trade with, and also increases the repair skill of the independent caravans. So that's a pretty interesting thing. Then along with that, there is actually an unmarked quest which references Canterbury Commons, and I figured this was the right time to do it. Basically, it's following a person from Canterbury Commons named Cheryl, who went to the Citadel to get some meds. And though she got the meds, she never returned home. So a search party goes after her. They go to the Citadel, they go to L'Enfant Plaza, they go to the Riley's Raiders headquarters. They go, like, basically back across the river to the west side. Well, not back across because they were always on the east side. But anyway, they go west of the river, and you eventually find the head of the search party dead. It's kind of a weird quest in that it references the people as having come from Canterbury Commons, but there's no reference to them within Canterbury Commons. And this is something that seems to have happened fairly recently, and I guess you can kind of excuse the fact that they don't talk about it in Canterbury Commons due to the fact that they got the Antagonizer and Mechanist fights going on in the town every day, so they've got bigger things on their plate right now, but I don't know, half your population disappearing in a search party, it seems like something that should probably come up. I feel like it was something that was perhaps added after the fact, like once everything else had already been kind of figured out for Canterbury Commons, and they just didn't go back and do anything about it in retrospect, but anyway. Okay, so again, script for that one's nearly done. I'm going to record the audio, get the video out, hopefully by tomorrow afternoon or evening. So in terms of the upcoming stuff, I've got the 2 polls up now, one on the Discord, one on Patreon, and the 4 options for Fallout New Vegas are, let me pull it up real quick. Okay. Helios 1, which is right over there. We've also got the Mojave Outpost, which, if we open up the map, it's all the way down there. Yep. And then along with that, I have 2 options for companion videos. So specifically covering the Rose of Sharon Cassidy, also simply known as Cass, and Boone. I figure it's probably enough time has passed in terms of like of material I've covered in Fallout New Vegas, where I can cover those 2 without spoiling, if there is such thing in a 15-year-old game, any future content. But anyway, so that's where I am on that stuff in terms of the options that are coming up. So again, though, that'll be the month of August. I hope I can get 2 videos out this month, along with the Fallout 3 video. Again, because the Fallout 3 video is very nearly done. Along with that, and then next month in September, we move on to Fallout 4, onto Fallout 76 in October, and then Starfield in November, and then probably covering the Fallout TV show Season 2 in December. So that's what you've got to look forward to for the rest of the year currently. I do want to try to get that, basically, the story of, like, what is the Fallout universe in 10 minutes, to try to give people an introduction to the universe. Something that obviously does not go in any sort of depth, because I've literally covered the the story of Fallout 76 in 10 minutes, and that was, again, just the vanilla pre-arrival of the Vault Dwellers on the scene story of Fallout 76. So there's a lot to tell, so it's basically just going to not really be a primer on any individual game, just more so the universe as a whole, like what's going on, why does everything look the way it does in terms of the culture, the architecture, all that kind of stuff. So that's the hope with that one. Let's see. I have basically spent the last few days. I took some time off because my wife caught the flu, and I was taking care of her for a few days. So in that time, I was basically focusing a little bit on making the video, a little bit of doing stuff around the house, and I just really have not been paying attention much to the actual like news in terms of software and gaming and stuff like that for the past few days. So I would not be the person to turn to this week for that kind of information. Like last week, we talked about a little bit about potential upcoming Fallout remakes and stuff like that. But yeah, again, this week around, I don't have anything on that. So I don't know. I don't know if there's really too much more to say this week. I think that pretty basically that gives you a full update on everything that's currently going on here. So I might close things out here in just a few minutes, because again, I'm probably just going to go right back to working on that video. I want to get that thing done ASAP so I can spend the rest of the month working on the Fallout New Vegas stuff. So unless anybody has any comments or questions or anything like that, I can close things out and get back to work. I've actually had a very productive afternoon here. I've got basically every version of the Superhuman Gambit questline down in terms of, again, killing the antagonizer, wearing her uniform to go fight the Mechanist, or simply talking both of them down, or talking one of them down, turning in one, like basically going in and turning in one version of the quest, the other version of the quest, the third version of the quest, taking the quest and using the speech skill to get yourself a bonus to the reward. So yeah, all that kind of stuff. It takes a long time, but I got all that stuff done. I actually had to reinstall Fallout 4 because I had uninstalled it basically for the first time since I got this computer last week when I was processing the Neon video, because when I was putting that thing together, the people on my Discord know the amount of storage that was taken up for that Neon video was 400 gigabytes. And that was just the actual like footage, like that was the footage that was very specific to the video, because I'd also used clips from the Rangers quest line, clips from the Ryujin stuff. That stuff is not included within the 400 gigabytes, and that stuff is still on my hard drive right now. But yeah, so I had to clear an enormous amount of space on my C drive in order to actually finish processing that video, which came out to like something like 26 gigabytes when it was done, which still big, but obviously nothing like the 400 that were used to actually get all the footage together for that video. But in order to actually have the video actually finish processing, because it just kept eating into the remaining little bit of space that was left, because I only had like 120 gigs left on my hard drive when I was filling this thing, processing this, and it kept filling it and filling it and filling it. I would delete another game and another game and another game, and we just keep filling it, and then finally it came out, and I was very, very happy when that actually did properly process, because it was the longest video I've ever produced at an hour and 48 minutes long. So very happy it did work, but again, I did have to reinstall Fallout 4 this afternoon, and I'm going to have to go in and get the footage of the Mechanist within Fallout 4. There is also, I believe, a Mechanist costume in Fallout 76, but that doesn't... I'm not going to really do anything with that, because that's not really covering the character. I think that's just something that comes from the Atomic Shop, so nothing really going on with that. But I really did enjoy just like how in-depth they actually went with this stuff. And then, like, beyond the interesting quest options, where it's like you can basically go in and talk to the character of the antagonizer, using information from the comics that you, or not even really from the comics, but stuff you gleaned from a complaint sent in to the company. You can use that to get her to stop fighting against the people of humanity. I thought that was really cool. But then even just the other little things, like the Mechanist having that crazy like 8-layer door to get into his lair. And then the other fun thing there, which is such a weird choice that they made, was if you get the Mechanist to lay down his arms, and you have not lock-picked the rear elevator to get the back door into his office, and you just snuck into his office, the entire rest of that robot repair shop is filled with robots that are hostile to him. For some reason, the Mechanist did not bother to get the robots within the robot repair center on his side. So I don't really... And that company as well. The company that he operates his lair out of, the remains of their business, called Darren's Discount Dirt Cheap Electronics, I believe is what it's called. Or Electronics Dirt Cheap. Regardless, it's a weird place because they... First of all, the interior is significantly bigger than the exterior of the building. But then secondly, they were definitely a robot repair center, but the way that the building looks from the outside with all the sales signs and everything like that, and again, the sign on the front that says discounts electronics dirt cheap or whatever. Again, it seems that it was really a robotics repair center from the equipment that's inside and the computers inside that talk about like they're doing repairs for the DCTA, the metro system for DC. I don't know. It was definitely a strange location. And then I also thought it was interesting that the Corvega plant, which is also nearby, is infested with ants. Which, like, it's so weird that they had to build a secondary lair for the antagonizer when there was already another building nearby with an infestation of giant ants. I don't know what was going on there. But also, I did learn some stuff through this, and it's stuff that I've definitely read up on before, but I'd forgotten about it up until now. That they actually expanded the map of Fallout 3 fairly drastically in the last year of putting it together. And in the process, that's why Canterbury Commons ended up getting moved. We talked about that a little bit last time. But you can actually find the old world spaces that Canterbury Commons was supposed to occupy, and it's now... post the Waters of Life quest, it's now occupied by an Enclave outpost. But yeah, again, so they moved it when they ended up expanding the map. But I was trying to find a real-world counterpart to this thing using 3 specific locations that you can find both in-game and in the real world. Or at least you can find stuff in-game that references the real-world locations. And so in this case, we're talking about Bethesda Ruins, which is obviously a reference to Bethesda, Maryland. Then you also got Wheaton Armory, which is a representation of Wheaton, Maryland. And then you have Old Olney, which is a representation of Olney, Maryland. So using those 3 spots to basically try to locate where it is that Canterbury Commons is on the map, I basically found that it could have been one of 2 places based on its current location, which is, I think it's White Oak, Maryland, or Fairfield, Maryland, something like that. But then when you go in and you look at the original location of it, and you compare it to those 3 locations, then you get something closer to something like Silver Springs, Maryland. But at the same time, you then also have to potentially assume the case that Olney was moved, assuming that it wasn't added to the game post-map expansion. And I don't know. Again, it's difficult to tell exactly where they wanted it to be. It's one of those things where it's like kind of like Grey Ditch, where it's just something that kind of... It's like a neighborhood that backs up to the Arlington National Cemetery. But in this case, it's just this little tiny blown down neighborhood north of DC with very few homes that are still occupiable. And you've got 5 people living in town, I think. Used to be 6, because, yeah, you've got Uncle Ro. Then you've got Derek Passion, Joe Porter. You've got, what's his name? I keep messing up this guy's name because it's a very strange name. Delisadro or something like that is his last name. And then Machete. And the funny thing is that, again, because I don't use the game guide to do anything canonical, because the game guide itself is not technically canonical, but there's definitely like way more information in the game guide than you find about Canterbury Commons in game. Like, I couldn't for the life of me define the relationship between Dominic Delisadro and Machete, because Dominic is a retired mercenary that's living in the same house as Machete, and Machete looks quite young. And so I can't tell within the game what the relationship is here. But within the game guide, it's like, oh yeah, Dominic is a retired mercenary. Machete is 19, and basically Dominic views her as his daughter figure. And it's like, okay. Well, again, that'd be great if it was canonical material. Unfortunately, I can't use it in the video, but it's really interesting stuff that I can actually figure that kind of thing out. Like the settling date of Canterbury Commons, only available within non-canonical material. The fate of Derek Passion's parents, only available within non-canonical material. It's kind of frustrating. It's one of those things that Fallout 76, or not Fallout 76, well, Fallout 76 is good for this too, but Fallout New Vegas excelled at was having the characters in the world, like even inconsequential characters, like the woman who hangs out here, the arms merchant, who has this whole backstory where it's like she used to be part of this unit until she got in trouble, but she still hangs out here and makes sure that the people in her unit are well armed whenever they're going to the front. So it's, again, that's definitely something that I feel like it's one of those things where Bethesda was kind of experimenting with the whole open world, first person, third person Fallout game. And when they did that map expansion at the very end, and like when I think they were working at breakneck speed to get the thing out as fast as they did, that in some cases they kind of dropped the ball here and there, and they kind of relied upon non-canonical sources to tell lore information, like, again, the game guide. But again, the game guide is not canonical because it's not the games, and it's also something where there is stuff within the game guides that's contradictory to stuff that's actually been released within the actual canonical material. So anyway, though, so yeah, once I cover those, once we get past these next 4 topics in New Vegas, which I've currently got 4 votes in so far. Somebody tried to vote twice on the Discord one for 2 different options. So far, the current one that's winning right now is Helios 1, or the Mojave Outpost, whereas in Patreon, let me check the poll real quick. It is 1 vote for Mojave Outpost and 1 vote for Cass. So we'll see. We'll see what I end up covering, but whatever topics I end up covering, what I'll probably also end up doing is one of the next topics I'll add to that is Veronica, because she would be the next companion to cover, or potentially EDE, although I think EDE's video would be fairly short. Basically just a video talking about how you can obtain him, the upgrades you can obtain for him, and a little bit of backstory we have for him based upon the stuff that he wears. Like that, like the Roosevelt private school, I can't remember the name of it, charter school, whatever it is, that exists within DC. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit to talk about there, but the EDE video would definitely be a fairly short video by comparison to some of the other ones. So anyway, though, again, I hope that this is giving you a perspective on what we've got coming up. Again, the Canterbury Commons video, hopefully by tomorrow. The 2 Fallout New Vegas videos for the rest of the month. Then I'll put up a poll for the Fallout 4 videos for the coming month, in September, I mean, and we'll see where we go from there. I hope everybody had a good week. I hope everybody has a good weekend, and I will see you all next Friday.